Hello, everyone.
How long are we going to keep that going?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the max of my improv skill is that right there. Hello, everyone. My name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
We are the Brothers Murphy. That's right. It's back time for rapid reviews.
The most rapid reviews.
They've got more rapid.
They've got more rapid. We've reinstilled some rapidity into these
have
things.
a little bit of rapidity. Rapidity where it really doesn't matter. You know, where we, at the end, we're like, we don't need to talk about the games we've talked about before a billion times over and over and over again. You get it. But nonetheless, hello, welcome to Rapid Reviews. We're going to talk about everything we played in the last 30 days, and I guess slightly less because it's...
Oh yeah, it was a short month.
You know,
28 days of gaming. What are we even doing? Why bother? But we are here to rapidly review. But first, we have a shout out.
We do have a shout out. So one of our things from our Kickstarter was that people could ask for a shout out on a live stream, and we have one from Banky Games.
We out here live. Banky Games is the maker of Pizza Chef: The Next Generation.
Yes,
a game where you are. Employees of a pizza restaurant, and the owner is retiring, and you're all vying for position to become the next maestro, the next owner of the pizza restaurant. And this is going to come largely by fulfilling contracts, fulfilling orders. People are ordering, and you are delivering pizza pies to the houses around the board, trying to get as many of them sweet tips as possible to show that, hey man, like I'm good at this business stuff. I'd be making money. Look at him firing those pieces off like it's no one's business. What do you got on that pizza right there? What do you got on that pizza? Cutting it up.
Freaking eggs.
You cut it up into 80 sliver slices, man.
Exactly.
Just like per order, you know? So Banky Games, thank you so much for being a Kickstarter backer. There's in the description of this video a link to the previous Kickstarter that they ran if you want to find out some more about the game, or check it out on Board Game Geek. Pizza Chef, The Next Generation.
Indeed.
Star Trek could never do that.
Yeah, right? They think they can.
So Banky Games, we really appreciate it. And check that out if you are so inclined.
Yes,
and Nick,
indeed.
we got, how many new games do we have?
So we had 83 games played, which is pretty good for a short month.
Sure.
Now granted,
not as much new stuff.
Not as much new stuff. We only had 27 new games. It's still almost a new game a day. So like as not a lot of new games, that's an insane amount of new games.
That's crazy.
It actually is. Well, because last time we did our rapid reviews was right after I'd gotten back from Seattle. And I'd actually gotten kind of confused because like, wait, why didn't I talk about these games? I was like, oh, because I technically played those games in February, because I was in Seattle through like February 2nd. Right. So some of the games that I played, which a lot of were new games, I played like on the first day or two of February.
So we'll get a few of those from that
exactly.
trip. Got it.
So one thing we also always do at the beginning of our things, we shout out our new patrons. The patrons we got in the last month. We appreciate y'all so much. Check out our Patreon. We got a lot of cool stuff over there. Some first looks, supplemental top 10s, and then also just behind the scenes silly stuff, of which there's going to be a lot more coming. So
we got Dane Cook in the chat.
Whoa, honestly,
Dana Cook.
Oh, my bad. Dane Cook, you got too much.
I'm not disappointed to see you. Yeah. I'm glad you're off work here for the live, but I was like, Dane Cook, come on down. You know what I mean?
Come on down.
Okay, go ahead.
You got too much hate.
New patrons, he did.
Yeah.
He really did.
We got Toyo, thank you so much, Toyo. We got Ryan Wampleman. Doug Southwick.
Oh, thank you.
Joel Key.
Oh, thank you.
Jay Moss.
Oh, thank you.
Joey Michael.
Yeah, thank you.
Richard Porter.
Oh, thank you.
Brandon Sobecki. And Ryan.
Oh, thank you.
Ryan, thanks so much.
Oh, thank all of you.
Thank all of you.
We appreciate it, patrons, past, present, and future.
Yes, indeed.
We appreciate you. And with that, man, we have got some games. So what we're going to do in our new kind of format for doing this is we will talk briefly about everything that's new and kind of give our thoughts, good or bad.
Pizza Chef, by the way. I forgot to have this up.
Oh, Pizza Chef. That's what we were talking about. Pizza Chef.
I put this in here and totally forgot to put it up. My bad.
And then we will quickly name off everything that is a have played before kind of game.
We're just gonna
again, the main reason we do that is for the most part, those games are games we enjoy if we are returning to them again and again. So we don't need to spend a ton of time.
No, we don't.
We will, of course, mention for some reason, if we're like, I played it the second time and now I hate it, we'll mention that.
Yeah, we will stop if we feel the need to talk about it for some reason. But for the most part, we're playing because we liked it. So we're just going to go through that part very quickly. We'll go through the new games much slower because that's what most people are interested in, is hearing us review games that we're playing for the first time. So let us go ahead and begin. Oh. Sir.
Nick.
Sir.
We tease people. That was Architects of Amytis.
Yeah, why is it? I pressed stop, not pause.
Oh, okay. So first up is Architects of, I think it's Amytis, so I could be mispronouncing that, my apologies. This is one that I had actually seen in Barnes & Noble and was curious about, and then didn't pick it up, but then it popped up on Board Game Arena, and it's a tile-laying game where you are... placing, yeah, you're a ghost. You're placing buildings in this little 3x3 player board, and you can cover buildings up and stuff. And what you're kind of doing is kind of fun. Is each of the building types have an immediate scoring thing they do when you place a tile. One of them is for when you place this tile, every building you have on that same level. So if it's the second on a stack, everything that's 2 will give you some points.
Nice.
Or each different kind of building or different color or whatever it might be. So that's one thing you're doing. And then the other thing you're doing is fulfilling contracts, which are going to be kind of tiny towns-ish, where it's going to be like, have this building specifically color a building. So it doesn't matter what the type is anymore.
Interesting.
The colors, you're trying to make a certain, match the pattern to complete that for points. And so you're kind of doing both of those things. It's a 2-player tile-laying game, and I quite enjoyed it a lot.
Cool. That's nice.
You are drafting, buildings from a central board, getting contracts, making patterns, trying to maximize the instant scoring of them all, and I quite enjoyed it a lot.
That's cool.
Yeah,
nice,
really
nice. Alrighty.
Yeah.
You played Azul Duel?
Ooh,
I
did.
almost bought Azul Duel, and then I was just like, nah.
I should have, man. It's good. I like it.
Is it good? Okay,
Yeah,
I almost
like
bought it. When I'm at a game store, I try and buy something, and there's just like nothing in this game store I wanted to buy it, and there's Azul Duel. I was like, I could buy that. But then I wasn't like at all excited for it, so I was
Well, there
just
you
like,
go. Yeah, you got to be excited, right?
Yeah.
So Azul Duel is the next in the many games of Azul. This one feels a little more OG Azul in the way it scores, but it is, of course, a 2-player only version of Azul.
There's dual games for everything now.
Yeah, duels are
that is the
big
thing
right now.
It used to be roll and write versions of games, I feel like.
Yeah.
And now it's dual versions
And
of
I feel
games.
like dual versions of games have had an era before, and then now they're back in a big way. So Azul Duel was a kind of a, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, frankly.
Kinda, yeah, right?
So this is like the Azul games where you're going to have different factories and stuff, and you're going to be drafting, your little bits, your little chits from them. And if there's like 3 of the same color from a factory, you'll take all of one color, and then you'll place it into different rows, and it is the same kind of OG Azul, little Mario, steps up to the flag.
It does. It always
situation
reminds me of that,
where row 1 needs 1, row 2 needs 2, and if you fill the row, then you can bring over one of your pieces, and it scores in the kind of similar way to base Azul. But with this one, you don't have your board set at the start. You're going to be drafting 2 pieces of your board that will fill in and give you your kind of color patterns and stuff. And you're going to be drafting that throughout the game. So if I were to fill a row and I don't have any yellow in that row from pieces I put down, the little dome pieces or whatever, it won't activate and score because there's no place for that yellow to go until they place things in. And that's something that's kind of interesting because I like the fact that the board is variable now. And there's different, when you draft things, you can rotate them in. There's certain things that are wild. There's certain spaces that are already filled in, so you can kind of complete rows and stuff quicker. So it keeps a lot of like the kind of standard stuff you do in Azul, and adds just a little bit of kind of more variety, I guess, of board state and the goals you can go for and stuff like that. So I quite enjoyed it. And
Very cool.
It's, kind of the most familiar since the first Azul to the first Azul in terms of how you go about scoring and doing stuff, but with that variety. So I dig it.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
1 second. Everything is fine. Nothing is weird. Everything was fine.
Mike was crackly for a bit.
No. We good?
I think we're good. It seems to have figured itself out.
We good? Oh, my good. Over here. I played Castellion. Castellion is another game in the Oniverse line. What is it? The Onirum. There's a whole bunch of other games.
Yeah,
in this kind of like they're all
ton.
solo games, or you can. I think you can co-op a lot of them, but like they're solo games to be completely honest. I've only ever played Onirum, but I've always wanted to try a lot of the other ones because I've heard they're very good. And I snagged Castellion. I think I got this in Nova Scotia last year.
I think maybe you did. You got it at some game store somewhere.
Finally, randomly played it. I brought it with me to Seattle just as a game I could solo. And I really, really liked it. It's really cool. So it's another little solo game where you are trying, this is not set in the, you're not like in a dream world. I'm not entirely sure what you're doing, but you're basically building kind of like a little bit of a castle. So you are going to have to draft a tile, and the tile is going to have some kind of shape on it, and they're all like little like monsters and stuff like that. And there are, I think, traders is what they're called in it. And basically, you have to put it in your castle. So your castle can be like 6 wide, so you're putting the tiles out. They're just square tiles, and you can kind of build them up like that. But you can't put the same shape next to another shape or something like that. But basically, you're trying to build these in a specific way to fulfill these kind of like goals, basically. But then as you get these traders out there, they're going to be messing you up. It's really, really tough. And I actually really, really enjoyed it because as you're going, there's lots of, basically the basic game, you kind of just place all the stuff out. But if you want to play the normal game, all of these different tiles, you can also chuck when you draw them for their abilities, and the abilities will allow you to like move stuff, and they kind of allow you to break some of those placement rules. They might allow you to get rid of things because you might need certain goals, and then you no longer like need those goals later. So you're like, oh, let's get these out of here. It's really, really fun. I think it's this, you can't put the same color next to each other or something like that. But I thought it was really, really fun. I played it a couple times at the airport. I got wrecked every time, didn't even come close to completing it. But it was really interesting how you can kind of plan ahead and deal with what you're drafting and stuff like that. I thought it was really, really fun, and I liked it a lot, and I really want to play it some more. I thought it was really good.
Righto, righto.
Indeed, so it was good.
Always cool art and stuff. Played Catapom.
I somehow forgot to put the transparency, so sorry for the occasional black bar that's going to be around this. I forgot to put the transparency on somehow. We can't play Catapom.
You know, I'm actually not sorry about it.
I'm sorry about it.
I'm not sorry about it. I'm glad it's there. We played Catapom. We played this with Jimmy. This was a sponsored playthrough we did. This is a card shedding game.
Yes.
Kind of, you know, in the vein of like a scout where you need to play something to the table that is more powerful than what was played previously. And you're doing this to hopefully get rid of your cards, but there's kind of the extra twist of you sort of are forming 2 hands throughout the round because the cards in your hand are considered your heaven cards. So there's cards on the table you'll be playing that are your hell domain cards.
Hell domain.
And you're basically cats trying to ferry souls across after they've passed is thematically what's happening. So what's interesting is when you play a card down, or cards, you know, whatever you're playing, you have to take one other card that's not part of that sequence from your hand and put it down in your hell domain. And you also need to get rid of those cards in order to get out of the round. And so you're kind of trying to manage, you know, what you're putting down into this hell domain so you have something that can actually be strong enough to play. But if you get people to pass, you can pass cards out of your hell domain and do things like that. So you're basically trying not to be the last person in the round with cards, which I definitely
you did not
was
do that,
always.
I think every time we played this, you lost like every single round.
I think I was being too aggressive in the early round. I was just like I can't get out. I ran out of gas each time. But I enjoyed that kind of a twist on the kind of the hands where you're putting stuff down to your hell domain. People are occasionally passing stuff to your hell domain, so you're trying to like manage that. I thought was kind of a cool twist from like a scout, you know?
Yeah, I like card shedding games in general. And then also this one has dice that you can then add to your sets, which is another little thing. So if you roll out a bunch of dice and then once per kind of round, you can take those dice and add them to your set. So if you have like 2 7s and then there's like a 4 and a 3, you can add that to it to make 3
like
7s.
A virtual card.
So it's kind of nice. It kind of can beef up your hands, but you can only do it once per round. So you're trying to figure out like when to do that. I thought it was good as a card shedding game, as a small box card game. I thought it was cool. Also, the designer is the artist, which doesn't really matter for the mechanics and stuff like that, but I always think that's cool. And
the art's really cute.
It's just cute art, and I like card shedding games, so I thought it was solid. Yeah,
solid game. Good little game.
Good little game. This is Chris and Tricks. We played 3 of these games from Inside Up Games.
We did. They did a little trio of games in these kind of like book cover boxes.
Yeah, they look really cool.
And they're like a foil and stuff. And this one is a trick-taking game that you are playing cards which are simply suits. They're different types of mercenaries. A bard and a druid and things like that. And then you were using various dice that you would see in a D&D set. So you have a D20, you have a D12 and stuff like that. And when you assign a dice, that's giving it its strength, its value, which I thought was really fun.
It's a really
I've never seen a trick-taking game that does something like that, and I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting twist on that kind of trick-taking thing where it's like, you're putting out a card and that's the suit, but then you're choosing the value, and then all the different suits win in different ways. So there's like the wizards, and the wizards, whoever, to win the trick that's led with wizards, you have to be the closest to 5.
Right.
And then if there's multiple people with 5, it's whoever played the last 5, basically.
Yeah.
So there's all these different ways of why you want to use your certain dice, like barbarians, you want them to be like really, really high. Was it like rogues, you want them to be low?
Rogues, you want the lowest strength. So you're constantly, there's like different dice are good for different situations or different values, I should say.
And then you also have like, I don't know if they're called quests, but basically goals that you're going for.
Yeah, they're quests,
And those might also manipulate why you want to do something, because it might be like win a trick led with barbarians with your D6, which has a maximum value of 6, of course.
So that's hard to win,
hard to do. But if you do that, you're going to get extra money and stuff like that. It was really cool. I thought it was really interesting. It's one of the things. I'd say the only knock on it is that a lot of trick-taking games tend to play pretty quickly because you're just playing cards.
This one's slower than a standard.
There's a lot of deliberation where you're like, okay, I want to play this, and then what die? Because there's a lot to think about. But I did think the concept was really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was really neat, and so it's just it's not going to be as quick as like a standard trick-taking game.
No, you're just chucking,
But like the things you get to do, I think are really interesting. There's also, in a round, you have 2 kind of leftover cards or extra cards, and you can play those for their crit ability.
Yes.
So they have the ability to manipulate your dice, re-roll your dice, swap different things out, a bunch of different things like that, which was, again, what I thought was like pretty dope. Which makes it kind of a thinkier, more puzzly trick-taking game in terms of how you're manipulating stuff. But I thought that one, out of this trio games that we'll talk about, kind of integrated the kind of D&D inspirations the best. I thought it was very cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I liked it a lot. You played Donuts.
Donuts! This is an abstract game, very fun, where you're putting donuts down, and you'll be like the kind of chocolate donut. I'll be the white donut.
Everyone's favorite donut, put it in the chat. And in the comments afterwards. Favorite donut, hit it.
Man, it's hard to beat a maple bar, though, man.
Maple bar is where it's at. You better believe it.
Anyway, so in this one, you're putting down a donut, and as you can see kind of in the box there, the space you put it in will show lines going, either sideways, up and down, or diagonal. And when you place a donut on a spot, whatever direction that line is facing dictates the kind of row or column or diagonal line that your opponent must place their next piece in. So you are ultimately trying to get 5 of your color donuts in a row. And if ever there's a thing where there's like, brown donut, and I place mine in between, I flip those donuts to my color. So you're kind of doing this and trying to manipulate the board so that your opponent is placing, in areas that are going to be advantageous for you. It's a really awesome,
interesting,
pure abstract game. Very much like this could be a gift game. But they made donuts, which is just more fun, but it's a very abstract-y kind of game in that way.
If you want to sit here and tell me that theme doesn't matter, go talk to people who made Boop. Okay?
Boop!
Boop could have been literally just checker pieces. And that game was sold like bananas because of the theme.
Because of the cats, yeah. So
I will play this game because it's donuts. Otherwise, I probably would never play it.
Yeah, but it's a pure abstract kind of get 5 in a row kind of game. But I really like it.
Cool, no, you've been really digging it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. We got Reg out here with correct answers. Maple bar, cinnamon twist. Those are correct answers.
Those are apple fritters. Apple fritters have grown for me.
Oh, yeah.
I like apple fritters.
Me too,
apple fritters
man.
are great.
They're real good.
They're all good. Donuts are great. We played Duck and Cover.
Yeah.
I really liked Duck and Cover.
Yeah.
Duck and Cover.
It's good, right?
Yeah, it's really fun. So this is on the new list because this is the first time I played it.
Yeah.
Mike and I had like 15 minutes before Mike had to leave to go pick up Logan from daycare.
Well, I got a game to go.
And we're like, we can play a quick game of Duck and Cover. This game is fun. It's this interesting game where it's one of those games where there's going to be a card flipped and everyone has to do the same thing with that card. And so it's kind of those games you can kind of play with an infinite amount of people. It's a great kind of game you can play over Zoom or something like that.
If you have multiple sets, you can absolutely.
So everyone has a grid, a 4x3 grid or 4x3 because it's 12 cards.
Yeah.
A grid of various ducks, and every set is themed differently. They all work exactly the same. But there's like a Roman theme and like a monster theme. They're very, very cute.
Halloween, and they're all like rubber ducks, but like adorned in the costumes.
It's very cute. You basically make a random grid, And then you flip over a card, and then you can either like cover up another card or essentially move that card kind of somewhere else in your grid.
Yeah.
And then basically what you want is is it the high cards that are valuable or the low cards that are valuable?
You want to have the lowest cards
points.
visible as possible because the higher cards have more of a splash value.
Which is bad.
Which are points which are, you don't want.
You don't want points. So you're basically trying to cover up everything, and there's multiple of the same card in the deck, so you'll get to do it multiple times, but it's this cute little puzzle of like, okay, I'm gonna cover up this, and hopefully when this one comes up, I can move over here, and like, but then as your grid starts to have less and less cards, you're kind of like, groups of cards kind of get disjointed, and so you're basically trying to do this in the most efficient way possible. It's dead simple, but I thought it was really fun. Like, I thought it was a really great little filler game. You could play this with like kids and stuff like that, but it's a great like, oh, let's play this quick little game. It's a little puzzle that you're not having to think like super hard about, but I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really fun.
Yeah, I think it's a really great filler game. It's just a fun puzzle. It's interesting. You know, it's easy to get to the table. The art is really, really fun. I think the art is really awesome.
Yeah, it's so
and yeah, so it's just like we're always in the market for like solid filler games. You
always.
know what I mean? Good little game.
Everyone should be,
Very good indeed. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I like this game. I
it.
think it's awesome. Yeah.
Indeed. We got to play Falling. We did a play. This is from Ultimately Capstone Games is the one who's bringing it over here. And we just did a playthrough of it so you can watch it. This is a game set in this world where there's like this giant tower city that's kind of been abandoned for a long time. But it's been like way up in the sky, and now it's like finally sinking down into this like void. I don't know. It's a very odd theme, but it's a cool theme. And then we are like kind of like sky pirates. And we're basically having like our airships go up next to the tower, and then you're basically thematically you're going into the tower, basically trying to get stuff out of it.
You're trying to explore it.
You're trying to explore it, get some cool stuff. But the more I've been thinking about this game, I really, really liked this game.
Yeah, I really want to play it again.
It's pretty darn simple, but you're, again, using your resources to kind of move your airship up, because the higher you can put your machines and devices out onto the falling tower, the better. And then you put your machines out there, you'll get some bonuses. A lot of this game is about getting these bonuses. And then at the end of the round, the tower will fall 2 spaces, and you'll get your income and stuff before the income is based off of the devices you put out. But then after they fall, a lot of times your devices will come off the board because that part has fallen into the void. And then you get those devices back, and then when you get them back, they'll cover up more bonuses and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just about trying to build this kind of cool engine, trying to get high up on the tower to leave your stuff there, because it's better to have income than it is to get the kind of recall bonuses, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty quick and stuff, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I feel like this is a game that will definitely like sing after like a second play.
Yes.
You know, with a couple plays we did, I still felt like I was struggling to manage my resources and kind of felt behind a lot of the time. But I feel like if you can kind of get a rhythm with that, it can be very, very cool and stuff. And like, I really dig the kind of push and pull of like, you know, if I get these buildings back, I get this cool bonus and stuff.
Yeah.
I do have to rebuild them now, but there is that kind of cadence of like getting them out on the board, hopefully letting them be on the board for like 2 rounds so you can get the income. Because basically if I have like all of my buildings of a certain type, I'm gonna get a lot more income than if I only have one of them. So you're kind of balancing which type of buildings you're putting out, when you're putting them out, how many, the timing of them coming back, and ultimately the resources are fairly tight, and so how high do I go up on the tower and stuff like that. There's a lot of fun things to consider.
Yeah, it was cool.
In a game that isn't, like you said, overly long.
No, it's like 4 rounds. They go pretty quickly. I really enjoyed it a lot.
I really want to play it again, because I feel like I'd start to click into it even better, you know, on the 3rd and 4th play. Yeah,
it was good. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I got to play for Northwood! I've been wanting to play this game for a while. We bought this I was with Jamie, I know that. We bought it at, I think, BGG spring of last year is when we bought it.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And Mikey's played it. This is a solo trick-taking game that's very, very cute, where you're basically trying to win a certain amount of tricks every single round. So there's basically all of these, you're basically trying to convince all these various, like, woodland creature nobles to kind of join your side for Northwood and stuff like that. There's a whole campaign, but I was just playing
thematically. You're having conversations with these various lords of the forest.
Discussing things with them, and if you discuss well, they'll then kind of join your side. But basically, each of these lords will have a value attached to them, and so every round you're going to choose to kind of not go up against, but go have a conversation with this lord, which means you're going to be playing out trick taking, and you need to win a certain amount of tricks equal to whatever value that lord is. And they're kind of put out random, but it's like 0 all the way up to like 7 or 8 or something like that. And the trick taking is just pretty simple trick taking. You have a hand of cards, and then you'll play a card, and then you'll just draw a card off the top of the deck. And then that's it. It's weird because it sounds like it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But it actually really does. Yeah. Because sometimes you're like, well, I don't want to win a lot. And then you have these various people who are on your side that have abilities that you can use where you can like discard cards, draw cards, and basically manipulate stuff. And then as you convince these lords to kind of come onto your side, you can then use their abilities as well. And it's really all about that. You're using these abilities to try and to get a certain amount of these values correctly. And it's really, really good. I really want to play the campaign. It's a small little box. I played it at Denny's while I was eating pancakes, and it was great.
Oh, that's a great way to do it. Yeah,
it was great. I loved it.
It works really well. It's the idea of flip over a card, and then based on that, try to lose or win to hit that certain number. So it's effectively like bidding.
Yeah.
You know, and getting 1 or 0 tricks, which is much harder, is more valuable than getting 4 or 5 somewhere in the middle. And so you're kind of pushing yourself to try to those more extreme edges, but then it's like, well, you better, you know, play your cards right, and the flipping over is it works very well,
way better than you think it would.
It's like, oh, go figure.
It's a cool
simple concept.
solo trick taking game. And there's a whole campaign for it that I really want to try. But yeah, I thought it was, even just the base game was very fun and difficult. It was not easy to do. So it was very cool.
Good way to hone your skills.
Indeed.
You played Carnival.
The Grand Carnival. Sorry, it's very small on our screen over there. I played the Grand Carnival. So this is one of the games that I played with our dear friend Charlie in Seattle. This is an interesting game. It's about a Grand Carnival, but the game isn't about the carnival. It's about like the people.
You're the carnival in front, like the game.
Yeah. You're like the dart throwing game, those kinds of things, and you're basically trying to get people to the carnival. But the game is you basically playing polyomino tiles, which would be these various attractions, these various games that people can play, and then you essentially kind of escorting these guests through your various attractions, trying to get them to stop next to it, which means they do those things, and then eventually trying to get them into the tent for the actual carnival. But it's one of those games where it's kind of like Quadropolis in that way, where it's like you have five action values, I guess, where it's like 1 through 5, and so on this turn you can do 1, which means you do like one thing, which means you can take like a polyomino tile that has like 1 space on it, or if you do your 2, you can take a 2 polyomino tile, or 3 or 4 or 5, or you can again move your guests like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and so how you use them is kind of like that. Or if you want to, grab a new. What is it you're trying to grab? There's basically a couple different ways you can use these things. So it's like, okay, well, I only have 1 5, and I really need to put this big polyomino in here. And so it's a really interesting way to think about that. I actually really enjoyed it. It was a cool kind of concept where it's like you're not actually at the carnival. You're just leading people into the carnival, trying to get them to play these kind of games as you go. It was really, really cool, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I kind of dig the idea. I haven't played it myself, but like of making this kind of pathway and stuff for these people to kind of go through and
because that's what the last one I forgot was you can get square tiles that are like. Because you can't put stuff directly onto your board, you have to put down these like square tiles first and then put the polyomino tiles on top of them. And then those spots have certain build areas on them that again, the polyomino tiles can go onto. You can't just put them anywhere. And again, that's like, if you want this one, you have to use your 1 on it. If you want, this one is 2, 3, 4, 5. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. And I have no idea, I've never heard of the game, seen the game, no idea how available it is, but I thought it was really, really fun. And I think you would like it a lot.
I want to play it so bad.
It was good. The Grand Carnival. I'm going to play Horrified. You didn't play this game, right? Because you weren't quite there yet?
No, I've read it. You guys were finishing getting destroyed.
We got destroyed in Horrified World of Monsters, which is the newest Horrified. And this is actually the only one that you can play with another one. You can play this with the Greek monsters. My guess is going forward, they're now going to start doing that. Because the boards are less specific to that game. They're kind of slightly more generic, basically. So basically, World of Monsters is it's Horrified. It's not really different than Horrified. There's just different monsters who do different things. All the Horrifieds are basically exactly the same, with the exception of the fact there's different monsters.
Yep.
And those monsters do change things up a little bit, but it's still pretty minimal. So if you like Horrified, you will probably like this one. If you don't like Horrified, this one will not change your mind. But it was cool. This one also, though, has Cthulhu in it. And Cthulhu is like this big, crazy thing where you have to, like, fulfill Cthulhu's thing, and then you go into like this other realm to like fight him, and it's like
That's awesome, man.
Seemed wild. So I really enjoyed it because
They're leveling it up, man. They're expanding the scope.
Yeah, because this one and these ones, both this one and the Greek one, some of the monsters have specific layers, but those layers are put out randomly. So that's why now you can mix them up. Because the first ones, it's like, oh, the Creature of the Black Lagoon is on this part of the board, but that's like printed on the board, which is why you can't mix them. But people kept asking to be able to mix them, and so now you can, because now it's just wherever their lair is, that's it. But yeah, we got absolutely, I don't think we even completed one monster. We got destroyed by the monsters.
I mean, that game is like a lot of you know, kind of crisis management co-ops where it's like it can just cascade poorly for you, and you know, that's part of the luck of the draw.
Absolutely, no, we got nowhere, but it was still fun because it's Horrified, and I like Horrified, so this one's still good.
That series of games.
We played Hutan.
We did. We played Hutan at Gamma.
Gamma Trade Show.
Trade Shows is a game coming up from the Op. Kind of similar in styles to Aqua that they did last year. Very different kind of game, but it's also got the Vincent Dutrait art.
The look of it looks
and this one is a game where you are all trying to fill out your personal player board. We all arrange them in such a way that we have an identical layout.
Yes.
And the layout is important because there's like waterways and rivers and stuff, which will create groups of, you know, 2, 3, 4, or 1 maybe areas where you're going to be putting out different flower types, so your plant life. And you're going to be gaining the ability to put these flowers out by drafting a card. So drafting a card might show you a yellow and a blue flower, and that's going to be what you grab and put onto your board, with rules that they have to go adjacent to each other, they have to go adjacent to stuff that's been previously placed and things like that. And you're trying to fill out these areas. Because once you kind of commit to an area, say it's an area of 4 spaces, if you don't complete it, it's going to be negative points for you at the end of the game. If you get it filled in with all one color, it will be positive points for you at the end of the game. So especially once you start an area, you need to commit to that color. But you can also stack, you know, a blue on top of a blue flower, and then it produces a tree in that area. As you fill in, trees are good because they're all worth 2 points apiece. If you fill in an area with all one color, and there's trees throughout it, you've created like a perfect ecosystem, and that will then produce an animal based on the color of flowers you have in there, and the animals are going to have different scorings and things like that. So you're kind of going through and leveling up, you know, these areas, but you're beholden to the cards you draft, and if I draft, you have to place everything. I might, you know, be wanting to really complete that blue area, and I can get a blue and a black, and it's like, okay, well, the black I need to put over here, and I've started this new area as well, so it's like, okay, well, I can't, like, forget that, you know?
Yeah, and it's a game,
stuff like that. It's,
you're gonna
it gets puzzly, but halfway through, all of a sudden you go like, ooh, this is now tricky.
You built yourself in a corner. You're gonna have negative points. Like, it's just,
you're gonna have some amount.
Maybe some genius out there planned it perfectly, but it's just like, you're gonna have negative points. So it's a lot of it is like deciding what to give up on, because once you give up on an area, then you can just start chucking various flowers in there. But again, trees are always worth 2 points. So what can happen is, like,
kind of mitigate.
If you have an area that's like 2 spaces big, that's gonna be negative 2 points. But if you put a tree in there, that'll negate those points. And so it's like, there's ways to kind of mitigate it, but you're not gonna be able to do everything perfectly. So sometimes you're just like, all right, screw it. This one is gonna be mixed colors, which means it's gonna be negative points for me. I'm not gonna put an animal in there. Maybe I can get some trees to make that slightly less hurt slightly less. I thought it was good. It's, again, a kind of like a little puzzly game, a little tougher than like Aqua and stuff in terms of the puzzle you're actually doing. But I thought it was really good. I thought it was great, beautiful art and stuff like that, but a nice little puzzle game.
Yeah, I really dug it, and the board layout is variable.
Yes.
And we played the kind of recommended starting one, but there's other ones and different
you can add in,
advanced things you can do to add in, which, again, Aqua did last year as well, which I think is really great, where it's like we can keep it really simple and basic. We can add some advanced stuff for people, so it kind of scales with, you know, wherever you and your family are. And the Op, as we've said many times, is crushing it right now so hard by making these hobby games, and people should be playing them.
Yeah, they're fun. Liked it a lot.
Really enjoy that game.
We played Tokyo Duel. We also played this at Denny's.
King of Tokyo Duel, we did play at Denny's, and I played it on BGA a few times, and I'm really enjoying it. It's very fun.
It's fun.
It's the fun, same kind of vibes of all the King of Tokyo games, but it works well as a 2-player game, which King of Tokyo does not do. And it adds some like push and pull element. There's these 2 tracks, and it's kind of representing, I think, your fame and your destructiveness and stuff. And you can win by either knocking out your opponent's monster, just by bashing them up. You can win by pulling one of the tracks completely to your side, or if you get both of the tracks into the, I think, the showtime area, basically almost all the way, you can also win that way. So I really enjoy the variable win conditions for the game. So it kind of gives you, you know, if your opponent's like really pulling a track, you're like, oh man, I need to do something to kind of mitigate that a little bit, but you don't want to, you know, split your attention too far. And it has all the other, you know, the energy cards. It's very much, you know, the same exact kind of thing you're expecting with
your
King of
individual
Tokyo.
turns are like basically like King of Tokyo. You're rolling out dice, Yahtzee style. But yeah, it's got this cool tug of war thing. I've never been a massive King of Tokyo fan. Still am not. I liked this one more than pretty much all the other ones. So that's a good sign because, and I don't know, for whatever reason, King of Tokyo's just never sung for me. But I did enjoy this one more than the rest of them. And the fact that I can play better at 2 was cool. I like the tug of war. I like kind of tug of war games in general. I always think they're kind of interesting, and a mechanic doesn't really happen too much anymore, or really in general. And so I thought it was cool. Yeah, again, it's never gonna be a game I pull out a ton, but like it's a solid 2-player version of yet another game. It's got a 2-player version.
As we talked about, dual versions of games are hit right now.
That's
so
right.
They're in.
Indeed. We played Papayoo.
We did. So this is a
mean trick-taking game.
mean trick-taking game.
Really mean. Holy crap.
We've been playing games with some of our Kickstarter backers who backed at the level to play a game with us. And we played with an awesome couple who we played with before.
Yeah.
And we just kind of played a handful of different games.
We did, yes.
Over on Board Game Arena. And Papayoo was one that we played. This mean trick-taking game where you are basically trying to avoid negative points.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways to dump cards and stuff. There's is it one of the suits, right? There's Papayoo cards that are just like negatives.
They're always
and stuff.
negatives, yeah.
And so you're trying to give those away and not win any of those cards.
And then there's 7s. 7s are like worth
bombs.
negative 40 points. A specific 7. So there's like diamonds, hearts, clubs, and spades in this very colorful style, but they're still just the normal suits.
Yeah.
But so every round they'll be like, oh, in this round, the 7 of hearts is the bomb.
Yeah.
So if you have the 7 hearts, you're like, okay, it's like negative 40 points. It's a humongous amount of points you lose. So you're trying to drop that bomb on somebody, and so it becomes this thing where you're like, man, I have like a 10 of hearts. So you don't want to leave with that. Again, whoever's a 7 is going to chuck it in there and like so you're trying to like get rid of this like super big bomb, and then also trying to get rid of all these Papayoo cards because they're also negative points. Yeah. And so like, and then at the beginning of every round, you get to pass cards to the person to your left. So you're kind of like, take all these high Papayoos, I don't want to win these and stuff like that. And so it's, you know, you're trying to get rid of like, I'm trying to get rid of my diamonds real quick so I can just start chucking Papayooos at people and stuff like that.
It's awesome.
Super mean. Because like, say like Mike's the only person with hearts left. He throws a heart, everyone's like,
Papayoo,
here's
Papayoo.
an 18 Papayoo. Here's a 20 Papayoo. Here's a 16 Papayoo. It's so mean.
The Papayoo numbers go way up there and stuff. It is really, really fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun because it's light and silly, and like there's big swings where someone loses like 60 points in a round, but then someone else is going to lose like 80 in the next one. So like it's just really kind of wild, and I think if you can enjoy the zaniness of that and the meanness of that, it is very enjoyable to play.
I thought it was very fun.
I really liked it a lot because like at any moment you're going to get got with a bomb or something.
You're going to get destroyed.
You know, it might feel like you're out of it or whatever, but it's like it's super swingy and crazy. Yeah. I really, really enjoyed it. Works well on BGA.
Yeah, it was
and I had never heard that one before.
Me neither. Yeah, it was.
We played. I was like, oh, this is a great time.
We had to play Parks Second Edition.
We did.
We had to play this at
Gamma.
At Gamma. This is the second edition of Parks that has new art. The new art is very, very pretty, by the way.
Yeah.
I really, really like the new art.
Butte still.
It's a second edition, so they updated some stuff. They kind of added some of the stuff from the nighttime expansion to it, like the campfires and stuff. Which the nighttime expansion was kind of essential. Like it made the game a lot better.
Yeah, and there's now round goals to go for, season goals, I should say.
Yeah, your canteen works differently now, where you kind of like beef up your canteen and stuff.
Canteen's dope.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's a game of Parks where you're kind of like hiking through, getting resources, and then you can use those resources to visit the various national parks in the U.S.
Yep.
And you're getting those cards. Those will give you various points. And so, yeah, it's this thing where you're going down this trail. You can't be on the same spot as someone else unless you use your campfire token, which is very useful. So you're kind of like trying to block each other a little bit, basically trying to get these resources to get these parks cards for the most part, and then kind of fulfill those objectives. It's good. I've actually never been a massive fan of parks, to be completely honest. This one didn't massively change my mind, but I do like the stuff that they added, and adding in like the kind of nighttime stuff into this one.
Yeah.
Because that made that game a lot better, in my opinion. It's solid. I don't know. For whatever reason, I've never been a massive Parks fan. And I don't really have a good reason as to why.
Yeah.
I've just never been a huge Parks fan.
Yeah.
And this hasn't really changed my mind.
I think I liked it more than you going on. We both really like Trails, which is kind of like a smaller version of Parks. We really like that a lot. And I really like this new edition. I think the changes it makes.
Yes, it's much better.
And the things that brings in, I think are really positive changes. When they first kind of announced this, I'm like, is this just like a new printing? Why is there new art? Blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, oh, they did actually change and add some stuff and kind of make a true new edition by taking some of those expansion elements and stuff, which I think makes a better version of Parks. So I'd be happy to play like this version moving forward.
Sure, yeah.
I'd play this over Parks for sure.
Incredibly pretty, yeah.
The OG Parks, I'm probably not as inclined to try. Yeah. And like this is one I think Karen would really like. She kind of bounced off of Parks because there were certain things she was going for, these goals, and they just were like a lot of work and didn't turn into many points. And I think they got rid of that, whatever that was. And I think like, this was probably a game now that she will enjoy. So
yeah, it's just it's an updated version. It is a better version. Don't play the old version. I mean, it's one of those
unless
things.
you own it.
I mean, you already have it. You have all the stuff. You probably don't need to do it. But like, it is a better version. It is a second edition for a reason.
Yeah.
We played Propolis.
Propolis.
We played Propolis a whole bunch of different times.
Sure did.
And Propolis is a new flat-out game. They did this in Point Galaxy. We'll talk about Point Galaxy, I think, next or very, very soon.
We're in the P's, yeah. So.
And so, this is Propolis. This is a B game. Where a B engine building game that we both really, really enjoyed. I think this is maybe my favorite of this size box of flat-out games kind of game they have. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is a game where you, on your turn, can place your bees onto these resource cards, which will give you different flowers in that, or you can spend those flowers to buy these structure cards, these building cards, and those building cards will give you endgame scoring and/or permanent resources, kind of Splendor style and stuff like that, or even like Point City, or a lot of different games that use that now. And you can use those permanent resources again to buy more buildings and things like that. And that's kind of what you're doing. You're putting out your bees onto these cards. You can also recall your bees. There's a little bit of majority area control, because once a row of cards is completely full of bees, or every card has at least a bee on it, you'll see who has the most bees on there, and then you will get wild resources kind of for doing so, which is really, really nice, because wild resources are great. But again, it's just a simple little engine builder. It's obviously very pretty, but like everything Flat Out Games does, it's just insanely solid, just like super, super, super good. And it's just great. We played this one a whole bunch of different times, and I really liked it every single time we played it.
Yeah, this is one that, like, the more we kind of played it, the more into it I got. It's quick. It kind of feels like Point City in that way of like the building of permanent resources, but gives you all this other cool stuff to do. I agree with you in the this size box of game that Flat Out makes. It's my favorite that they've done out of all the point games and deep dive and stuff. I was like, this game is dope, and it's a really nice production. In a small package, which I'm like, thank you for giving me big gameplay in a quick amount of time.
Yeah, indeed, I really liked it a lot. And Point Galaxy.
Hey, there it goes.
Another about the P's right there.
Yeah.
So this is the next Points game.
Yeah.
Point Salad, Point City, now Point Galaxy. Where do they go next?
I mean, they're really a scope is they have to go back to
another Point Universe or Super Cluster. That's just confusing.
Yeah, Point Molecule or something.
There you go.
Small. Point Atom. This is a game where you are drafting cards. This is much more similar to Point Salad than certainly Point City was, where you're going to have a market of 6 cards, which are different planets, and then the back sides of the cards are different celestial bodies and things. So it might be moons and suns and asteroids and stuff like that.
Yep.
And you are creating columns, which are sequences of numbers. And you want to have as many unique numbers in your sequence as you can. But if I have like a 1 to start and I put down a 3, you can only add to the either end of your sequence. So I can't then slot the 2 in between 2 other cards. So you're really trying to ideally go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the maximum. But then there's these other elements you can draft, like moons, which will go into that sequence, which is forming a solar system. And it's going to need a certain color of planet on one or both of the ends of the moon. So I would need orange planet and purple and stuff like that. So you're kind of trying to maximize these sequences for as much as they can. Then each solar system can have up to 1 sun on it, which will give you a set collection thing where it might be for these color of every green and orange planet in this particular solar system. You get stuff. There's rockets you can get, which will give you again more kind of set collection-y stuff. I really enjoyed it. Out of Point Salad, Point City, Point Galaxy, this is probably my least favorite.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Point Salad, a thinkier Point Salad. And I really enjoy the simplicity of the set collection in Point Salad. And I enjoy the kind of engine building in Point City, and this kind of falls kind of in between stuff. But with that said, it's still very good. It's not like some knock on the game. It's just like out of those 3, like they're all very good, and it's probably my least favorite by a smidge.
Yeah, it's I really liked it a lot. I'm in the same boat where it's probably my least favorite of the 3, but I do really still enjoy it. Again, Flat Out Games kind of doesn't miss seemingly ever, and so
consistently great.
Really like them. We got to hang out with Molly from Flat Out Games a little bit at Gamma, which was really great.
Great people.
But yeah, so Point Galaxy again, probably my least favorite, but it's really good. These games tend to be very cheap too, which is very nice, and so it's another good addition. But I probably like Point Salad probably the most because it's just the most simple, it's just streamlined. I really enjoy it.
Okay, favor to ask real quick. Could you give a shout out to Kat? She had to go into the office as opposed to working from home, and it's toxic.
Hello, Kat.
Hey guys, be watching this later. Kat, I'm sorry.
Appreciate
that
you.
you're in a not so fun working environment. I hope you get to work from home more often than not.
Indeed.
That sucks. You hope that a working environment is good. I should know I work in a toxic work environment myself.
He does. I keep it real toxic.
Yeah, she's like, man, I'm irradiated, bro. I glow green in the nighttime.
That's true.
So, Kat, hope you're having a good day, or hope you have a better day.
Indeed.
Let's hit it, man. Pueblo.
So I actually talked about this last month
You
because
did.
I thought I had left it off my list. This is one of the ones I actually technically played in February, which is why I was like, oh, that's why.
Yeah, you were like, I left all these things off. You're like, oh, no,
it turns out I didn't.
A month happened.
So
I
I'll
didn't realize.
very quickly talk about it again. Pueblo is this really interesting game where there is kind of like I think it's like the chief of like the city, and basically they're going to be going around the corner of the board, and you're putting out these big chunky wood block pieces, and basically you don't want the chief to be able to see your pieces because the chief doesn't want things built up super high and kind of wants it kind of chill and low and stuff, and so you're basically trying to build stuff in a way wherever the chief is, they're going to be looking straight down that line because again, it's kind of like a big grid board.
They're going to move sight stuff,
and so basically, whatever they can see, you're going to gain points for. You don't want points, so essentially, you're kind of losing points. So basically, you'll place a piece, and then you can move the kind of chief piece, I think 1 to 4 spaces. So hopefully, what I do is move them to a spot where they can see your opponent's pieces, but not yours. And then the higher up the piece that the chief can see, the more points you're going to lose.
The
or the
more
more points you're going to gain, I guess.
they become.
They're going to get so angry and start throwing rocks at stuff. So basically the chief is going around the board. And so it's one of the things where you're like, okay, this side I'm solid. This side,
it's all bad.
It's all orange, which was like my color. So you're like, okay, it's kind of like the game Control that Pandasaurus did a while ago, where you're trying to like look at stuff from very specific
angles. Kind of like
angles.
reverse photosynthesis, where you don't want to be in the sunlight.
Kind of, yeah.
You know what I mean? You kind of want to be hidden,
really
but eventually the perspective will change.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And then this is kind of like a newer version of it. It's really pretty. Got these nice chunky wood blocks, but it was very fun. But it was kind of an interesting puzzle to think about. You're like, okay, this is really high up. Because again, the grid is only so big, so you just have to start building up. You don't have a choice, and so you're kind of like, okay, I need to make sure I block this before the chief gets on this side because it's gonna be rough. Yeah.
And Mondo, you're welcome. I mean, the Op be doing it up, so we're not afraid to say as much.
Indeed. Quantum?
I played Quantum.
You did?
I did. I don't know what I was doing, man. There's dice stuff, and you're moving ships around, and I was lost. Jeff from Foster Meeple gave me a nice rundown, and then I was just like, I still don't understand.
I don't understand.
But it is a thing where it's kind of cool. Like the dice are representative of ships, and the higher value dice are like quick and nimble, and you can move equal to their value, like 4, but they're also easier to hit and stuff. So your 1s are like your big cruisers, which are just kind of slowly moving, but they're harder to destroy. And I really dug that. And there's just where I got mixed up, and this is a BGA thing, so it's not against the game. It's like there's these technology cards and various things. I was just like, I don't get what am I getting right now? And I could have done more to just learn.
Wait for a proper review, I guess.
Yeah, so this is a non-review review because I enjoyed what I understood.
Right.
I didn't enjoy what I didn't understand, but that is literally my fault. So I was just like, nah, I'm not going to read that.
Sometimes you're just clicking around on BGA. Yeah. You know, it happens. But that was technically 8 plays, so it showed up here, baby. That's right. Boom. Got to pump those numbers. So we out here stat padding.
Yeah, I need to like read up and play it again, for sure.
I played Rattus Big Box. So this is the big box version. It just has all the stuff, and there's tons of expansions.
The rats are giant.
This game I want to play again because it was cool. It is not great at 2. I played it at 2. This is a game where you're going to want more people because this is all about the plague. It's an area control game, but your people are constantly getting wiped out by the plague.
I love it.
And so it's Rattus because there's rats everywhere. So basically, you're putting out like your citizens on the various parts of Europe, and then you're also having to put out these like rat tokens and then kind of move the plague around. And then when you move the plague around, it's going to like flip over these tokens, and then basically it's going to take out some of your people, and then you can get these kind of like various like nobles, which will give you like special abilities, but they have, I guess kind of various specific citizens, like a farmer, there's like a king and stuff, and they'll have symbols on them, you know, like one for the king and stuff like that. And so on the back of these rat tokens, there also will be those symbols. So as you have these kind of like special character cards that make you cooler and able to do more stuff, you also have a higher likelihood that your people are going to die. And so it's this really interesting game where, again, it's area control. You're not really fighting each other, but you're basically trying to like chuck rat tokens in areas where you have a lot of troops, and then I'm trying to move the plague doctor there. The problem is at 2, it's just not that good. You really, really want chaos, in my opinion, in this. You want a ton of people. And if people say Rattus is definitely a 3 to 4 player game, that seems accurate. So I really want to try this game again because it was really cool, pretty simple, but it was not a 2-player game. It was not good at 2, but
not every game is, you know?
So it was cool though. I really enjoyed it, and there's a ton of extra stuff. This was a big box, so there's all these expansions and stuff. We didn't play with any of that, but nonetheless, yeah, it was an interesting game that I need to play at a higher player count to really have a good opinion on. But it seems like it's really cool.
Yeah, righto.
So yeah,
I mean, if you want to come back to it to play at a higher player count, then like there's something there. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It seemed like it. This is a game called Reforest something Pacific Northwest. And it's about trees in the Pacific Northwest.
There you go.
The name is really long.
Did you happen to play this in the Pacific Northwest?
I did play this in the Pacific Northwest. I played this with our good friend Andromeda, Kiki, and then Beth Sobel, who did the art for our little game.
You've heard of Beth Sobel,
which was very cool. I got to go hang out up there.
I'm insanely jealous that you
It was very fun. It was cool. We went to a little game night. We played this game. This is kind of like Wingspan, but with trees. Is kind of what it is, where you're getting these cards. These cards will like score in different ways or do different things depending on when they trigger and stuff. And you're kind of building essentially a canopy. So there's things that are like in the bottom, and you're kind of building a card pyramid. And so there's certain things that have to be at the top, certain things that have to be down to the bottom because they're kind of like the undergrowth and the up, stuff like that. So you're building this out and basically trying to score these cards the best way you can. There are also like various animal cards. Those are kind of like objectives that you can kind of race for and stuff. It's a good game. I really liked it, but it's very specific to the Pacific Northwest. It's all like all the trees, all the animals, all the stuff is Pacific Northwest. There's like you can cover up cards. You're gonna have to cover up cards a lot, but you have to cover up cards with taller cards. So basically, like
the bigger trees.
If this is like 1 meter tall, you have to cover up with something that's over 1 meter tall and stuff like that. Cool. And you get benefits, and you can like spend the cards underneath them. Essentially, it's like discounts. They're like essentially money. It's like extra energy you have and stuff like that. Cool. So it's very cool. I really liked it a lot. And it was like a small little box game. It was very good, but it's kind of like Wingspan with trees. And it's cool. Yeah.
I want to try this. And Dawson says, "Woo, Beth, can't wait to play your game." Yeah, it is being printed as we speak.
Right, yes, indeed.
It's getting made. Branch span.
I don't know how printing works, but
something like that. Yeah,
something like that.
Like that.
They're being individually painted each time. You played Arcana Duo.
I played with Jimmy at a Denny's. We out here.
I'd be loving some Denny's.
I mean,
Denny's
it's right there. We have a Denny's like 200 yards.
Yeah, it's very close by.
Yeah, so while we were waiting for our food, we played this. Res Arcana Duo, you can always make a claim for the most part of like, why make a two-player game of this? Res Arcana Duo really pushes that because it is just something you can just fold into Res Arcana. There's a couple of cards that will specifically like address stuff that your opponent or one of your opponents has, because everything in this is fully compatible with the, you know, all the other Res Arcana stuff. And so it really is just kind of an expansion.
Yeah.
And we were playing it and I enjoyed it because I like Res Arcana, but I was just like, oh, this is hilarious because like even in the designer diary for this game, you know, the designer was mentioning that like, yeah, people were kind of saying like, why? Res Arcana is already a great two-player game. And like that point stands where it's just like, it's just fold it into Res Arcana and then play with all of the stuff.
Yeah.
I don't ever need to keep this separate and like, oh, I'm a pull out. And like, nah, it's just more Res Arcana stuff. Which is great because I enjoy that game, so I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
But it is funny. I was just like, wow, this is just an expansion. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it does give you some resources so you can play with just that stuff. But I just folded into all the rest of your great Res Arcana stuff.
It was an expansion. It seems like an expansion.
But it's good. I mean, I like that game, so you know, I'm not mad about it.
I'm gonna play Spectral. Spectral is a deduction game.
Right.
It's really, really interesting. This is kind of a deduction game that's kind of got like a. I'm trying to think. It doesn't play anything like this, but it's kind of like a Forbidden Desert thing where you don't really. Where things are is dictated by where other stuff are, where things can kind of move and things like that. No, not at all. When the game begins, so this is basically a deduction game where there are these. You put all these cards face down, and then you can basically like turn these cards face up or peek at them, and they're basically going to tell you. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around because on the card there's either going to be like gems or demons. Demons are bad. And gems are good. So on the gem, you flip it over and like, oh, there's a gem, and then there's basically some kind of direction on it, and that's actually what's telling you where that gem actually is.
So it's just an indicator of...
Yeah, it's like, oh, boom, this is a gem. But on this card isn't necessarily a gem. It's just telling you where a gem is. And so like, you're trying to, and it might be like, oh, there's a demon, and the demon is like mirrored, which basically means whatever the mirror of this card is across that grid, that's where the demon is. But it's not on this card that shows a demon. It's really confusing in that way, but it works really well. So that's why like every time where the gems are and where the demons are different. And so what you're doing is you're putting out your little pieces, your little followers or whatever the heck they are, around these things, and then basically after the game is ended, we'll flip over everything, put out all the gems and all the demons, which again is determined by where these cards are and things like kind of what they're pointing to. And then what you want is you want more of your pieces around gems than anybody else.
Right.
So if I have 4 of my pieces around this gem and you have like 2, I'm gonna win that gem. But if there's a demon next to that gem, it negates the gem. So you're trying to figure out where everything is and then trying to pile up your followers there, but you also don't want to give away where something is. Because you're putting a whole bunch of different people down there. People might know where it is. It's very odd, but worked really, really well. When I was learning it, I was like, because you flip over everything, you're like, oh, here's a gem. You're like, oh, wait, no. This isn't where a gem is, but it might be where a gem is if something else is pointing to it.
Right.
It's confusing, but it was really, really fun. I liked it. Yes, exactly, Atlas. So I said it's like Forbidden Desert, where like the indicator of where the flying machine is in Forbidden Desert depends on where the other things are.
Yeah, eventually flip over 2 and it'll give you a row and a column, and that means like it's here.
Exactly. So it's this weird thing where it's like it's kind of confusing, but it was really fun, and I really liked it a lot.
That's cool.
But it was an interesting deduction game, and the deduction's not super heavy. But you're kind of in your head, kind of be like, and you have a little thing to ride on. So you're like, okay, that's point over here. Okay, that's where a gem is. Okay, cool. It's just like it's very interesting, but it was fun. I liked it.
I dig that a lot.
We got to play Thieves of Eldris.
Eldris. This is another game, the second game in that trilogy from Inside Up Games. This is one where it's kind of a hidden character, hidden movement type game where you have a grid which represents a market, and you are one of the characters in the market, and you are using these slip dice, they're called, to move characters of certain classes, so like strength class and stuff. You can be moving your own, you can be moving another one, and then you can assassinate, or rather I shouldn't say assassinate, you're stealing from... pickpocketing from adjacent other characters that are on these cards. You're basically getting your marks.
Yeah, you
so
got
you're trying to steal the money from, which will then flip their card over as they leave the market sad without no money. And you're trying to do this in such a way that you don't out who you are, because if you kind of have an idea that I'm this one character, I'm a ranger or whatever, if you can get your character adjacent to me, you can accuse me, and basically, if you're correct, I lose some stuff, you gain some money. It's a race to $8, and there's money to be gained in those various ways. This is one that you, me, and Jimmy played, and none of us loved.
No, none of us.
This is our least favorite from this trilogy. I think with the right group and playing like a 4-player game where there's really a lot of stuff shifting around, it could probably be kind of fun, but it felt like random. Like you roll these dice and that forces you to move things around. You're sort of like, I'll just move this because this is nothing to me, and you're kind of hiding, but none of us were really drawn in by its what you were doing.
Getting found out is really bad, and it's only a race to 8 points, and so it's like
so you get found out, it's hard to recover.
Yeah, it's hard to recover if you get behind. It's actually seemingly kind of impossible to recover if you get behind, and so it's an interesting concept. When we were learning the game, I was like, oh, this seems really, really cool, and it just kind of didn't work for us. I think maybe we need to play it some more, and then I want to try with other player counts and stuff like that, because we played at 3, maybe it's better at higher player counts, but this one of the 3 was our least favorite, by a pretty big margin for me, at least. But yeah, it was fine, but it was, I don't know, it just didn't really work that well, but it was a cool concept. Yeah. And yeah, it just kind of
I just think it's, one of those games that's really group dependent. I think if you have the right group and it's kind of a raucous, fun game where you're really accusing each other and stuff like that, I think it can be fun. But yeah, it just wasn't, at least in our environment, wasn't it.
Didn't work out.
Wasn't it.
Wasn't it.
Yeah.
I gotta play Torres. Torres is another abstract strategy game. This is a game, it's cool, like 3D one where you're building up. It's kind of got some Santorini vibes. It doesn't play anything like Santorini, but you're building up these kind of like towers and castles and stuff like that, and kind of moving your knights around the board, trying to build these things up, and then basically trying to do like some area control, because basically the various towers are going to score, but they score based off like how big they are and then how tall they are. And then you basically want your knight on the highest one, but then Mike, you get into my tower as well, you'll also score it. You'll score a little bit less if you're not as tall. But so it's a lot of like moving stuff around and trying to kind of like cash in on other people's stuff. There's various castles that are going to score each round, and so you want to be on those castles, you can actually score them. It's got this really interesting thing where as you're building at the bottom levels, well, actually all the levels, have little archways and they're kind of hollow in the middle. So you can move into them and essentially warp out on the other side because you're just going through the building, which is actually really, really cool. There's a couple different like special powers that allow you to like quickly move up, because you have to kind of like move up. It's kind of Santorini style. So you can kind of quickly move up. So there's different things that manipulate the game a little bit. It was really cool. It was a really solid abstract kind of strategy game with like really cool pieces and just some cool stuff that threw some wrenches in those gears, which was very, very interesting. And I liked it. Yeah, I thought it was good.
Very cool. Yeah, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, I didn't either. It was good though. I liked it. It was solid.
It was a solid one.
This is the last one from this series.
Tug of Roar, which is the third from this series that we played. And this is a 2-player game. Where you're kind of going through 2 distinct phases of the game. You, in the first phase, it's a very fast game.
It's really
are
quick.
Drafting groups of 3 of these kind of these
like
recruits.
D&D characters, right?
Yeah, so it's like clerics and stuff like that. And you are recruiting them. They're going to have a certain strength value, potentially a certain roar value, and then an ability. And you, after doing 4 rounds of that, you'll have a crew of 12 characters. You're going to shuffle up a deck and make a hand of cards. And then in the kind of second phase, you're going to be putting out characters to these 5 locations. One at a time. You can go, in different locations or however you want to work it. And you're going to be putting out characters, some face up, some face down. So you do a little bit of bluffing there. And then in the third round, you're going to be kind of going through the skirmishes and like carrying out each skirmish to see who has the most strength in that particular battle or whatever it is to raise flags. You want to raise the most flags to win. I kind of dug it, man. I
liked it a lot.
The distinct phases where you're drafting these characters, and it's really nice to get a bunch of the same character, because if at a location both of your characters are the same type, you get to activate their ability, which might give you extra strength. It might allow you, in one of the types, rather than taking a look at all of your characters and adding up their strength, you just choose one of your characters versus one of their characters. So if I have a 5 and you have a 2 and a 3 or something, it's like, okay, well, I'll do my 5 versus your 3, so I get an advantage in that way and stuff. And it was just like a lot of fun stuff. And it gives you these kind of 3 distinct phases, but it's a very quick game overall.
It's really quick. I mean, when we were first learning the game, I was like, okay, cool, it's be like a half hour or something. And we're like, oh no, this is like 15 minutes. Like it's really fast.
Yeah.
So you can kind of load up and play it again. Yeah, it was cool. The way you can manipulate who wins, what wins. The game, we did a playthrough for it, and that playthrough was really, really close, because I was like, oh, this is like, the way you win the flags and stuff like that it can make it really, really interesting, the way you kind of manipulate that. I liked it. I thought it was cool. Of these 3, Chris and Trick's probably my favorite, but this one's probably a close second. The Thieves Eldris is third. Yeah. But I really like this, and and it's snappy-pappy. Yeah,
and you're using these like captain cards to give yourself priority when you're drafting and stuff, but in the skirmish phase, you're also using your captain cards that you haven't used already to kind of give yourself maybe a potential of extra strength.
A lot of good hand management.
And so, you're really kind of having to think of like when to use your strongest captain cards, like which things, where to prioritize stuff. So it's like there's a lot of cool decisions in a very quick game. For 2 players. So nice tug of war, tug of roar kind of game.
Indeed.
Twinkle Twinkle.
Oh yeah, what is this?
Twinkle Twinkle is the newest game from All Play. I don't know if their campaign is still live. Or what, but I might have to go take that.
Yeah, you want to go take it?
Yeah, but it's a really fun thing. Sorry, 1 second, so make sure all is well.
Yeah, speak yourself. I'll talk about Twinkle Twinkle. It's the newest game from All Play. It's about the nursery rhyme. It's about stars, and the stars have all exploded. And with that explosion, there has been nothing but death and suffering, unfortunately. And so you are trying to rebuild and trying to console the people whose families were incinerated by the exploding star. And it's a tough game. It's a story-driven game, and it's I think 10 hours to play a single session, because there's so much destruction that you have to sort through so much rubble to get through it. But it's really interesting, and I really like the worker placement in it is very interesting. And it's the star explodes, and then you need to go find a new home. So that's the set. The first game is all of that, the 10-hour game of sorting through the rubble. The second game is actually 4 days, because you are then having to travel to a new star, and hopefully that star does not also explode. And so traveling through space, even if we can get the speed of light, which we cannot get to, it's still going to take many years to get to the next star. Space is humongous, and so this game takes a long time to play. It's mostly death and destruction. I don't know what this game is, and I'm just guessing until Mike comes back. But I know it's from All Play, and I know it's called Twinkle Twinkle, and that's all I know. So we're going to move on to hopefully something that I've played so we can talk about it, because I don't know what this is. But check the game out. I'm sure it's great, because All Play makes good games, and Twinkle Twinkle sounds super cute. And my guess is that it's not quite as dark as I let on, basically. And so let's just move on, and Mike can talk about that later. God, please be a game I played. Oh, that was the last game. Here's the thing, y'all. Okay. That's it. I checked the BGG page. You are 90% right. Thank you. I knew I was on the right track. It seemed like I was right. It really, really seemed like I was right. When I started, I was improvising, but I was like, you know what? Halfway through, I started to believe myself. I really started to believe that what I was saying was true, and that's what everyone does nowadays, it seems like. So, why not? Twinkle Twinkle, great game about destruction and death. Okay, so, I guess we'll wait a second to see if Mike comes back. If he's not back in like a second or two, he was getting multiple calls, so he had to go check to make sure that everything was okay. So hopefully everything's okay. But unless, if you have a quick question I can answer before we get into the old games. But the old games are going to be, again, games that we have played before. We are mostly just going to mention these games. This part is very chaotic. It's very crazy. We don't need to go through all these games, because it just adds like an hour to this video, and we're playing these games because we like them for the most part, and so we'll see. All you need to believe is that is the theme. Yeah, that's the theme. This exact theme of the game. So here's the thing. We're gonna go ahead and just do it. I'm trying to eavesdrop a little bit. Hold on, let me go back real quick. Okay, that was pretty quick from our post. Magenta, you ain't wrong. That was pretty quick for us. Buckle up for Gold Game. Yeah, you better get ready for the old games, because it gets bonkers up in this. I think, actually, there's a quick question I can answer while we're waiting to see if Mike comes back. Middle Class Joe said, loved Rattus from back in the day. The end of the game seemed fiddly. Does this version fix that? Joe, I'm not sure because I never played the old game, and I'm trying to remember that. I don't remember the end game being fiddly. So I'm going to go with yes. They fixed it perfectly, but I honestly don't really know. But let's go with yes. Captain asked, anyone played a game today? No. We'll be recording a game after this, so we will play a game today. We played many games yesterday. I actually played a lot of games this weekend. I had a game day with Jimmy, and then Mike and I played a couple games with our backers, and a new game that Jimmy's been designing, little trick taker. Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. It was a good start. You know, it was a really good start. How was Gamma? Asked Renee. It was good. It was really, really good. We were only there for a couple days, and we kind of went the wrong couple days. So Gamma is like 4 days long or 5 days long. So it's like Monday through Thursday, I think, or Monday through Friday. And we thought like the exhibitor hall with all like the publishers setting up their booths, we thought that was the entire week, and it wasn't, which is our fault for not looking. We just didn't even think to look. So the first couple days of Gamma are like people doing meetings. There's like a lot of seminars, a lot of like people doing panels on stuff. And so we were there for those days, which was great because we got to do meetings, but we actually didn't get to walk the hall, which is a bummer. So if we go back next year, we're definitely going to go probably Tuesday, Wednesday, so that we can actually go and walk through the hall because we want to be able to see all the games and stuff. But it was good. It was really, really fun. We had a good time at Gamma. It was good business-wise, which is nice. And yeah, we had a good time. Let me see. Have you all played Explorers of Navoria yet? No, we have not. Willing to teach Civilization at Dice Star West? Raylo, Josh? I would be willing to teach and play Civilization if it was like a 3 or 2 player game. I don't particularly want to play a 4-player game of Civilization. When I'm at cons, Mike is slightly different, so Mike might have a different answer to this. I like to play a lot of games at a con with a lot of different people, as opposed to playing, like a lot of people go to cons and like, I want to play TI4. I want to play like 8-hour games. I do not want to do that. It's not how I like to do cons. I like to play a bunch of 1-hour games with as many different people as possible. So a lot of times people want to play these really long games at like full player counts, and I'm always kind of like, I'm cool, because to me it's like, again, this is just the way I like to do cons. I don't want to spend 4 hours playing a game. So I'm down to teach Civilization, but I really only want to play it if it's 2-player, maybe 3, but I won't play a 4-player game of it. I would rather do something else. It's just how I work. Yeah, Renee, I saw that. How are the errors/typos? The newer Horrified seems less polished. I didn't notice any typos in the new Horrified, but I also wasn't looking for them. But it seemed like it was fine. But don't quote me on that because I have no idea. But it seemed fine. But yeah, so Civilization, probably down to play. I just don't want to play a 4-player game of it. I want to play, especially at cons like Dice Tower West, where we have so many friends there. I want to play games with different people. I want to play games with people we don't get to play games with very often. And I want to play that with as many different games as possible. I don't want to play filler games all the time, but I don't really want to play massive, massive games, particularly at Dice Tower West. But that's how it is. It said, Sergeant Suge said, hey Nick, I think I was at Mock's boarding house in Seattle with my son the same day you were there. Were you at a common table or a back room? I would have liked to shake your hand. I hope you had fun. I was at Mock's. I was at 2 different Mock's while in Seattle. I went, and so and honestly, I couldn't tell you which one was which because I don't understand. I don't know. I've only been to Seattle like once, so I don't know where they were. But I went to 2 different Mox's. Mox's is a great game store. Holy crap, they're nice. But I was at one of them, and at one point I was playing a game kind of in a common area. So probably that one. But you should have said hi. You should have said hi. But yes, Mox is a great place, and I was there when I was in Seattle. So yeah, you should have thrown something at me. Don't throw stuff at us. But, you know, might as well. Ooh, jabs, that's good to know. Okay, so looks like Mike's still talking, so we're going to go ahead and go through the old games. Y'all get ready for it. Some of these games I might not know because they're going to be games that Mike has played, but not me, so we're going to go for it. All right, get ready, y'all. This part's nuts. It's so dumb, and I love it. And some people do not like it, and I love it. Hi, Ben Osteen. So for me, cons are all about getting those 4-player games played. I don't really go to any of these days. but more of a player count, not length. That's fair. Honestly, again, I think people wanting to play big games at cons is a totally valid way to do it. I think that's outstanding. That's just not the way I personally like to do it. Okay. And Linnea, I always assume that. Here we go. I'm also going to be looking over here because this is where our screen... Oh.
Hello.
You all right?
We're all right, man. Here's the thing about dogs. They eat stuff that they shouldn't.
No, again?
Karen's, anyway, I think Pippin will be fine.
Was Pippin this time?
Yeah, so Karen's putting slug pellets out to get rid of slugs, and Pippin's like, oh, let me snuffle up some of those. And you're like, no, you idiot. But the brand that we have is non-toxic for dogs, so it should be all right, but we'll just have to keep an eye on him.
Insane. The other time she ate a bunch of weed. It wasn't our weed. We don't smoke. But she found weed somewhere on a walk, and she ate it, and then we took her to the vet, and they're like, I think she's just really high.
Yeah, she was all jacked up. She was all just like skittery and weird and stuff.
She's like, she's just really high. She'll be fine.
And she's just like, where'd it come from? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. We live in an apartment with 400 people.
If you partake, don't just throw your roaches on the ground. Dogs might eat them.
Yeah.
Put it away somewhere.
Please put it away somewhere.
You know. So I guessed on what Twinkle Twinkle was. It was very dark.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's probably correct.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Was it good at least?
It is good.
Okay.
It's a thing where you're putting down
I thought it was about like the star exploded and everyone died.
Constellations and stuff, and basically that.
I said it was 10 hours. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's accurate.
Okay, cool. So, good.
It's crazy
Sounds
long.
great.
But the pieces are like these clear tiles with just like bits of like an asteroid or comet and stuff. You're trying to lay things out in certain ways.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Okay, cool.
I liked it a lot.
Sweet. Okay. Slug Pellets, new band name, we call it. Fair.
We are Slug Pellets!
Okay, we're now going to go through our old ones. You ready to roll? Okay, I was literally about to go, and then I heard the door open. Okay. Here we go. Okay.
What do we got?
I don't know. Except when it's still a great game.
Still like it?
Still a good game. We like it a lot.
So good.
That Artichokes is amazing. Watch our deck with this. It's so good. Anachrony is
still so good.
I haven't played it in a very long time.
It's a great Euro. Aquatica, I still don't understand it. I don't get it.
Arcana, you already know
it's solid.
Barron Park, good game.
Banger. We played it with some Kickstarter backers. It was such good. Beyond the Sun, I've kind of started to figure out finally. It's a good game. Bloody In, great game.
Dope. Coming to BGA now, yeah.
Yeah, and it really rough on BGA still. Can't stop.
Good game. Can't stop.
Will not destroy the day in that.
Really good game. You're flipping the captains and stuff.
Flip the captains.
Cascadia. Those are the games I played at Mox. Someone was asking. Yep, that was great.
Cascadia, so good. Castle amazing. Chef's kiss to that. Castle Burgundy, all-time great game. Played it yesterday.
Chimera Station, good stuff. Dude, I like Chimera Station.
Dead Cells.
Play Dead Cells again.
I don't know. I think I'm out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Distilled.
Great game. Played this last night. It was outstanding. Draftosaurus. Pretty little drafting. You drafting the
Such a good game, man. Such a good game.
I like Earth. I'm kind of back on Earth. I'm back on Earth.
Back on Earth. Exploding Kittens. Weirdly fun. Weirdly fun. I get it.
Far Away is also a good game.
Far Away is amazing. Feast for Odin.
No Feast, no Odin. Weird. Oh, Lord of the
amazing. We played so much of it recently. Oh my God, so good. Five Tribes, such a good game. So classic. Mount Call.
Really good.
Forest Shuffle.
People were talking about
expansions. Oh, so good. Fromage.
You
gotta draft the structures to make that game worth it.
Fuji Flush is one of the greatest games ever made.
Choo Choo Train.
The old one specifically, yeah.
Still so great. That's
right, the El Paso.
Hey, I'm liking it a lot more now.
Oh,
I'm liking it a lot more. Gilgamesh Explorers, amazing. I thought about it, but I didn't.
Harmony's is a great game. So pretty. So
knows Honey Buzz. You're buzzing. Your honeys.
Yes,
doing bee stuff. Hooky.
God,
so good. I crushed it recently.
Yeah,
it's a wonderful world. So good. Still not very good at it. Loot. Fun game. Interesting game. I like the tile placement. It is good. Yeah.
Okay.
PlayStation Paris. Amazing. No thanks. Yes, please. No thanks. What I would say. Obsession. Still obsessed with it. British stuff.
I really enjoy it.
Odin. Really fun card game. I really want to find it physically.
Paint the Roses is great game. I love the deduction part of it. Yep.
Absolutely. Pirates of Maracaibo. Amazing. So fun. I love it so much. Res Arcana. Hey, Res Arcana Duo is just for more Res Arcana. Play that. Revive.
Is this going to be Jay?
It is good, but I don't know how to do certain types of actions.
Rolling Galaxy, never played it. Don't know.
Still great. You have played it.
Santorini, good game.
Really fun. I lost very quickly. SETI.
Snaps up. So good. So good.
Really good.
I never played Shakespeare. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I forgot how good that game was. I also played Shakespeare songs ago.
Teotihuacan. So good. I love that game so much.
Turn Machine also great. I haven't done Turn Machine, right?
Veil of Eternity.
We were talking about I want to play this game. Yes,
I really want you to play it. War Chest. I'm really digging it. Welcome to. I haven't played it forever. Still really fun rolling right. White Castle. I played a lot.
I'll tell you, Mikey played 27 games of White Castle in February because it's on BGA, and Mike played 27.
I played a lot.
Wondrous Creatures? All right.
It's okay. It's all right.
I think that's it. Oh, no.
Yokohama's still amazing. Such a good game.
Oh, and Zenith. I really want to play Zenith. We got kind of a preview of Zenith. You'd already played it. We got a preview at Gamma. I really want to play Zenith. Distilled is outstanding. We played Distilled last night, which will be, so it'll be on next month's too, because I was still in March. Yeah. I freaking love Distilled.
Distilled is awesome.
I like Distilled so much. So that was all the other games that we played that were older. And I hope you enjoyed that cacophony of sound and
It
light.
is a lot of sound and things. It's a lot of talking.
Yeah. And Gary, we really like Distilled. Distilled is great, thematic, fun decisions. And we're talking about it just doesn't really feel like anything else because it's like,
yeah,
I guess it's resource management. I guess.
Yeah.
Engine building,
I maintain
kinda?
it's a shopping game. It's a game where you go shopping.
It is a game where you go shopping. It's basically Supermarket Sweep.
Oh,
you know?
No, where the hoses
Get
at?
the hoses.
Get the hoses so fast.
Yeah.
You got to get the hoses.
Yeah.
That
Anyone's
is
got
what we played.
any more cues, let us know in the
Hit us
chat.
with some cues before we go out of here for some A.
Yeah, and what?
I don't know. Can't fuels my board game goblin.
Let me go, I can go scroll. I answered some of the questions while we were waiting for you. So
Okay, yeah, thanks for that. Pippin is, I think, going to be just fine.
Fuck those dogs, man. Because didn't Mary just eat grapes?
Raisins, yeah. We poisoned both our dogs in a week, potentially, which is really stupid.
That is both their fault, let's be honest.
It is their fault. They be getting in things they shouldn't.
Yeah, right?
It's like, so yeah.
All right, so I'm scrolling through chat, see if there's any questions that people asked that we didn't get a
We're
chance
talking
to.
donuts back here, man.
God,
Always
that's right.
down for
Donuts
some
are
donut
great.
chat.
If you have any other questions, pop them in the chat.
Pop 'em in.
But yeah, we'll do a little Q&A, then we'll get on out of here because we got stuff.
What are you looking forward to playing at Dice Tower West?
I don't know.
Do you have any hopes and dreams?
No.
I'm playing Unconscious Mind, and I'm very excited to play that again. It's been obviously a couple years since we played the prototype.
Yeah, I have no plans at all. Raylo Josh is asking if we'd be willing to teach Civolution. I said yes if it's a 2-player game, maybe 3-player game, but that's it for me personally. But no, I have no plans.
Game we played wasn't that long.
No, but again, at a con,
Considering.
everything's going to be even
yeah.
significantly longer. So, because things just take longer at cons. So, like personally, I don't want to play if it's more than like 2 or 3, but I do want to play it.
Yeah.
Favorite portable solo game?
Portable solo game. A lot of solo games are portable.
That's the thing. That's a hard list because like whenever we're traveling, particularly if I'm traveling like alone, I'd be bringing portable solo games. 20 Strong. I've been
20
bringing.
Strong is a...
For Northwood, I think is going to climb that list.
I really like to bring Friday. It does take up more space on the table. Like it's portable in terms of box size, but like...
I'm going to go...
Yeah, I'd say Friday, though. Friday's probably my go-to.
I'm going to go Numbsters because it's insanely portable. Because it's a button shy game.
Button shy is the true answer.
You play it in your hand, too.
Yeah, if you want.
So it's like, it's super portable. But there's a lot of really good, small, portable solo
button
games.
shies. Yeah, button shy, you can't go wrong. And they're very small.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, when's the best time to catch y'all to play at Dice Tower? Anytime. We don't have set plans for the most part outside of a couple of dinners. So we are literally there to hang at Palm Island. Great pick, Menocene. Yes.
Palm Island.
Literally do play.
Yeah.
So yeah, anytime. I recommend if you're not in our Discord, get in our Discord so you can write to other people that are at Dice Tower West in the Dice Tower West section of our Discord, and you can always tag us in a comment there. And yeah, we're just sort of hanging out playing games. So anytime is a good time. If you see us wandering around in the game library, then you know we're probably looking for a game to play, and that's a great time.
That's a great time, yeah.
But yeah, we're free agents, so we're literally...
We actively try to not, at least personally, I try not plan stuff, because when I plan stuff, it kind of stresses me out, because I'm like, I have something at 2, that means I can only play a game that's an hour, but it's a con, so it'll probably take an hour and a half, so it's just like, I don't like planning stuff, I really just like to go with the flow, because we're doing a panel, by the way, on, I believe, 3 p.m. on Saturday, with Thinker Themer, 2 of our very, very good friends.
Talking about game experiences that
strengthened
that
our
drew
relationships
us together as people.
So that'll be at 3 p.m. I believe on Saturday.
We'd love for you to be there.
I was going to say where, but I actually don't know because we're back at the Westgate, but it'll be there. Jabs, no updates on Big Mon Con. We've been extremely busy. We have not had a chance to look at it, and so unfortunately, but we will. Once we get back from Dice Tower West, things are going to calm down a lot.
Yeah,
and
we'll
so
have time to kind of start digging into some of that stuff. So we appreciate you, and apologies for the delay. Jenna says, "What's your favorite type of garden?" You already know it's a board game garden.
That's right.
No other answer than that.
Get
board
wrecked.
game garden, my favorite kind of garden. Shoo! I've tried Kato on BGA, easy game, and addictive Captain Flip level. Have not looked into that. I will look into it though. What con are we speaking about? We were speaking about Dice Tower West.
Or Bing Bong Con. We were just talking about both, too.
We were. So Nick and I are going to Dice Tower West Wednesday. It's Wednesday through Sunday in Las Vegas of this week. So that's what we were talking about mostly, but Nick and I, and Jabs is helping us out from chat, have been forever trying to organize our own little mini convention, very small.
We've been talking about it for like 6 years.
Yeah, and realizing, we were living in Southern California when we started this idea, and realizing it's very expensive in Southern California, but it should be more doable up here in Northern California. So that was the second thing we were talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
And it will happen.
Someday.
In time.
Indeed.
It's okay to wait to make sure it gets done right rather than have some haphazard crap fest.
Eat at a local Arby's,
We're not trying to do Fire Festival again.
Right? Have you guys played Star Wars Unlimited? I never have.
I have, yeah. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I really like it. I'd like to play more of it. I bought the starter set. I won't be getting into any more. So I can't afford that. But I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Dawson said, if you could choose a board game to get a movie adaptation, what would you choose? No IPs. I maintain Baseball Highlights 2045.
Yes, I think that would be a dope movie.
You follow one of the naturals, kind of like maybe a little older,
Yeah.
And I would Baseball Highlights 2045, like kind of like, because in that game you're playing baseball games, but there's robots, there's cyborgs, and there's something called naturals, which are just people.
Straight up
no
humans.
augmentations, nothing. They're kind of like the fan favorites. And so I think it'd be really cool to see like either like an older natural come in or maybe like an up and coming kid who's like a phenom.
Yeah.
But they're going to get up against like cyborgs and robots and stuff. And I think it's a lot of really interesting stories you could tell.
I think you said it like in the Midwest and like have it be very Fields of Dreamy, but it's like retro future kind of.
Yeah, because there's a lot of like,
vibes. Because
again, like a lot of these like pitchers are really good, their cyborgs are really good pitchers, but their people have gotten like their limbs redone by like robotic limbs. And we're like, man, there can be like some really interesting stories where maybe it's like, those are like rentals by the team and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're like the biggest stars, you can afford new ones and stuff. But like there could be a lot of those kind of like down. They only play AAA ball and stuff like. There's a lot of really interesting stories I think you could tell in that world. And so I would still say Baseball Highlights 2045.
Yeah.
Is there any game already released you still have yet to want to play? A billion. Yeah.
One is arriving, I think today. Rasafa, which is the new Vladimir Suki game.
Oh, yeah.
I really want to play
Always want to play some Vladimir Suki stuff, but yeah, a billion games.
So I might bring that to Dice Tower West, and try to get it played because we like a Suki. We're a fan.
We loving some Sukis.
We like a Suki, but it's now kind of available over here. So I ordered it on Game Nerds.
Nice.
Yeah. So
indeed,
that'll be very cool. Sketching the end of this, I can't wait to watch start. Oh yeah, we had a nice collection of games this month. It was really solid.
We did. Next month will be good too because we have Dice Tower West, and so we've had a couple months here. We've gotten more game time in, which was really great.
Yeah.
Recommendation for an 8-year-old that loves Marvel United. I would vote more Marvel United, but
there's plenty more to explore.
An 8-year-old loves Marvel United.
Interesting. Trying to think. Like, I mean, I wonder if something like a Horrified might be fun. Unless it'd be too scary or something, which I don't know. But like, just a kind of another co-op game.
I think some of the easier. Well, it depends. If they want co-op, yeah, maybe something like Horrified. You could probably do some of the easier decks of Unmatched. Yeah, I feel like a clever 8-year-old could probably hang pretty well in that. Yeah, I've been hearing good things about Compile.
Man, yeah, I really want to try it.
Yeah.
I really want to try that one.
But yeah.
I'm curious.
All right, if anyone's got any second questions, let us know. Otherwise, we'll get out of everyone's hair.
Get out of your hair and let you get on to this week. It is Monday after all, I suppose. Yeah, so like I said, if you're at Dice Tower West this week, please come say hi.
At the very least, yes.
We're hanging out. We're down to play games. That's literally the whole point of being there. King of Monster Island will be really fun. Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
Fireball Island would be a good one.
Yeah.
Some chaos.
Yeah, King of Monster Island, you get all the dice rolling, but you're working together.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really, actually, genuinely fun King of Tokyo.
So they have Unmatched. They tried Dice Throne over the weekend. He loved it. Yeah,
Dice Throne, great
That's a great level right there.
What other conventions are you going to this year? I know you mentioned not doing Gen Con or PAX U. I need to go to one that you guys are at because I want to play games with you. Man,
I don't know if we're going to be at one. We're going to be at Gen. We're going to do Dice Our West.
Dice Our West.
BGG Spring, probably BGG Fall, but I think that's it.
Yeah, it's really a light year
year.
for work travel for us this year. And of course, the plan was, because we didn't this past year go to PAX Unplugged, we're like, oh, we'll go this year. It's at literally the same time as BGG Con.
Yeah.
And between those two, it'll be easier, cheaper to go to BGG Con versus PAX Unplugged. So, yeah, that's all we're going to. Of course, those are, anything in the States is further for you from being in Canada. Yeah. But if you can make it down to Dallas, Texas, and not get the measles, hilarious. It's BGG Con are really fun, very laid back, chilling, playing games. So we'd love to have you there. Come on down.
Yeah,
be really fun.
Stuart, sorry about the stream last Friday. We got thrown a massive curveball like right when we got to work on the 28th, and we had to cancel our stream. It was one of those things where it was kind of not a really good way to tell everyone. We told people in the chat who were already there that it was canceled. But yeah, sorry, we got thrown a massive curveball that we had to kind of deal with then.
Like right as we walked through the door, we're like,
yeah, and then we didn't have another time to do it that day. And so yeah, sorry about that cancellation stream. We really don't like canceling streams.
And happy birthday. I'm sorry.
And happy birthday. Yeah,
we
sorry.
We provide you a stream for your birthday.
Yeah.
We will make it up to you.
Sorry about that. But it does happen, unfortunately.
Don says, my first Gen Con bros won't be there. I know.
We're probably going to go every other year, maybe, because we do like going to Gen Con, but it's
fun.
Very expensive to get there. And
trying to pinch our pennies a little bit.
Yeah.
This year, might have to do BGG Con this year, Jenna. I think you'd have a lot of fun, man. It's very chill.
Yeah.
It's a great chance to just sit and play games, and it'd be so fun to have you there and just be able to just get into stuff. There's time that their library is amazing. There's so many games in their library. So recommend either BGG Con. They're both really great. And I think they're both 5 days, so there's plenty of time. So it's again, very laid back.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the BGG folks would love to see you. So come on down, one and all.
All right, everybody. I think we'll go ahead and call it there. Thank you so much for being here for this rapid reviews. Again, there won't be another stream this week because we'll be at Dice Our West. We should be coming back to the streams later. Make sure to check out, anything on our channel, really. Just keep watching stuff.
A lot of stuff, yeah.
Keep liking, keep subscribing to all that kind of stuff.
Top 10 deck builders came out last week. Go give that a look. We'll be doing another top 10 this week. And playthroughs and stuff to boot. We'll have a playthrough of Deep Shelf coming out. That's what's right here. This little submarine from that.
Right here,
and stuff like that. So come on down, one and all, and thanks for joining us live. If you're watching us after the fact, make sure you thumb this video up, please, and turn on live chat so you can see who we're talking to when we reference people you can't see on screen.
Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.